Welcome to the episode 63 of
Yep.
DevKami, and I'm Chilo.
I am Tristan.
And I am swimming in just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, actually,
So
I've
what
noticed swimming's
uh-huh.
Wi-Fi connection is a lot better nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what's the secret? Let me show
Yeah,
you.
what's the secret?
Okay, you gotta show us his secrets.
What is
What's
this? Oh, your router is just in front of you.
No,
That is a secret, no?
antenna?
that's a USB dongle. It's actually
Yeah?
very old, but the secret is the antenna, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Because they have a bigger antenna and all that.
Mm-hmm. So now you
Your
have
laptop
battery,
has
that's
that
good.
as well, but you're embed with the electronics, so it's a bit noisy.
Yeah.
So yeah, they people use that to extend their network and all that. So that's my internet connection for a while.
That's good. Sorry, I just noticed that
Yeah,
it is a lot better recently.
yes. So
Yeah.
let's say let's talk about what we have next week.
Yeah,
Actually,
what
there's only one
else?
thing happening next week.
What
We
is
What?
have the
happening next
Python
week?
2 funeral.
Aha.
Do you call it officially?
Officially, I telling everyone is that it's the end of Python 2 party. Uh,
Are you
for a
going to
very
have a
good reason.
ceremony? There's a
Yes.
ceremony?
Uh,
That's a cake.
we are not going to do that. So okay, so I will extend it a little because this the Python end of Python 2 party is actually the only event we have for the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
The
For the
whole
rest
week.
of the
So
week, there's not gonna
yeah,
be any meetups.
so I'm going to extend it. So originally it started as a joke. The joke goes this way: Python 2 is officially being stopped developed by the official Python community end of this year. As in 1st of January, you're on your own officially. Officially. Uh, the story for that is it started actually a bit earlier. There's a community that says that started a Python 2 that club. It's not an official thing. But then the last Python conference, PyCon in the US, they used that club and say 2020, on the year 2020, Python 2 will not be supported by the official Python community. The people can do it. Nobody will stop them.
So,
But
what
yeah,
are the odds that there will be a fork of Python 2
uh,
and it will be
very likely,
maintained a lot? Very likely.
very likely. Simply
Mm.
because I know Anaconda is interested. Uh, I know that Python.
Anaconda is
Uh,
the Fedora installer, isn't it?
no, no,
It's
no.
No?
a
Oh, it's a
Forget
third-party
different one.
another
packager.
Anaconda. If you
Okay.
talk to the data science people, Anaconda is a distribution of Python.
It's
Ah,
like
okay, I see.
there's a
So, go on.
more related. No.
No.
Anaconda is like
Uh,
the high level package for that they package everything nicely. They give you their
Mm,
alternative package manager as well.
I see.
correct,
Okay.
Make
correct.
sure everything works on your computer.
Yeah.
So
If you're on Windows, go for Anaconda for Python.
Okay. So it's like Flatpak or
No, no,
Snap.
no,
no, no, no.
you
Okay.
know like
I
alternative distribution like from
Yep.
do you know about active state?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Something
The
like that.
Perl ones and the Python ones, active
Yeah,
state.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
They have data science focus and all that.
I see.
So likely to have a fork, but don't bet on it. And also a few of the Google tools are only available in Python 2, even though they want to discontinue it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're maintaining some of the Google libraries.
Which is why it's still on Python 2,
Yeah, they are
especially in
not.
App Engine and all that. So it's horrible. Go to the joke part. So in the conference, I was telling everyone, you know what would be funny? If we take a Python 2 book, we tear off the book, we tear off the book, make a boat out of it, then we throw it to any place of water, then we try to shoot a fire arrow to
Mm-hmm.
this boat to have a Viking funeral for Python 2. And
Oh,
that
you
is
should
actually the
you
genesis.
you should
Yeah.
video this. Like get the video. You
Yeah,
might get
then
viral.
everybody is caught telling me I'm crazy. And also, I should not destroy book, which makes sense. I do not agree on destruction of any book at all, so I didn't continue to it. And it's also a bit too crazy for me.
Well, why not? That would be good. I mean, you don't
So
have to
then
put it
I
in
decided,
water. You just
yeah, yeah,
fire Nerf
yeah,
guns on
okay,
it, for example.
fire with trigger alarm out there. Let's not go there. Then I was thinking, let's do a wake. But turns out that I thinking it's very close to a family that anniversary, so I didn't continue with that. And also, some Malaysia is with pantang lah. They're a bit kind of, so I toned down the idea significantly. The co-organizer Donaldson Ivedol, he actually booked a headstone shaped cake.
Mm.
I hope we can get it on that day. So we do get something. We do not get a ceremony per se, but we do get cake
You still have some
on
time to
Saturday.
prepare. If you can get a few people with Nerf guns, you can still do your Viking funeral.
Nah, I'm not going to tear off any book, so there's
No, you
that.
don't tear the book. You just like you have the headstone and you put it on a casket and you fire Nerf
Yeah, yeah,
guns at
yeah.
it.
We should do a 21 gun salute, right?
Yeah, yeah. So and
Yeah,
then
then we
just
throw
like
a few. Then we throw a few planes to attempt to have
mhm,
to have a flying formation.
yeah,
That's too
in
much.
paper
I'm
planes.
sorry, that's too much.
If
But
you
either
if you
way,
record a video, then that will be great.
Spoiler
That's a
this.
good send off.
Spoiler. This is how the cake look like.
Hmm? Oh, you have a picture of the cake? Ah,
yeah.
okay. No, really, you
So
should document
Here it
this, and
comes.
I think this will be a great send off. You should upload it to
so
YouTube
either
or
way,
something.
we may do the video for something more lightweight, but
Hmm.
the event itself will include talk. So I have two talk, which is why one of the speaker actually had a reasonably sized infrastructure, and he migrated from Python 2 to Python 3, which
Hmm.
for me is very important. So that's the serious part of the whole event. Then the second part is that why you want to move to Python 3, just because we should cover the base lah.
Hmm.
So yes, the Python 2 funeral might be a bit sound fun and all that, but we do have two serious-ish talk going on, which is why my only bad thing is I do not promote it well enough, but a small group is good enough lah. So the whole idea is that we cover the migration part and the feature part. So that's the whole point of the Python 2 funeral lah.
Hmm.
So there's
So,
the plan.
since since we don't have much going on, even for Barnes Corner, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna just expand on this. How do you think there's still quite a lot to be ported to Python 3, or you can safely say just screw Python 2?
Short answer is yes. It will not be straightforward. There is enough code written in Python 2 that keep being running. Django and all that. Especially Django. What older Django?
Oh,
to the
Django
newer
is still in
Django.
2, but
No,
doesn't it
the
have
next
like
Django will go to 3.
okay?
Problem is between currently
The
there is
LT, the LTS.
Ah,
no, but yeah, the LTS and the 2 is actually had a lot of changes. Even some people are still running something just before their 1.11. That one had a lot of changes on, let's say, the delete behavior. The new one, the deletion would be similar to databases on delete cascade or delete set now and all that. 2.0 even more things different. For the 2 plus, they will get like asynchronous server, so they got some support for that. They have you can query from now, so or query. A lot of those are for 2 plus. There will only Python 3 only.
mm-hmm.
So it could be a while for that to happen. For the data science side, possible because data science have a lot of one-time code lah. So I
Yeah.
don't know for sure, highly possible.
Is
But
that
on
a,
the other
is
hand,
that a critique of the data science people that they just do one-off code, non-reusable code, basically?
uh, because in the understand is a lot of the job is one time only, one time analysis, one time like that.
Mm.
If that is your only focus, then you just unless you have software development background, you won't
Mm-hmm.
think too much about reusability, because by default the SciPy tool is on their own is already reusable.
Mm-hmm.
So they already built enough Lego block for you to do that, and different question have different abstraction. So in a way that you're not wrong, they have problem reusability, but there is also a reason for it, because uh, different problem have different abstraction,
Mm-hmm.
and the lowest common abstraction is already in the
I think
SciPy circuit
one of the
there
I
already.
think one of the drawback is that code that people the one thing that foreseeable is we are using more stuff, doing more stuff in code. So in the
Yeah.
future, whatever scientific paper that involve code, like let's say something about machine learning that they
Yeah.
use Python from 10 years ago
Yes.
won't be able to run by or validated by anybody. Yeah,
Mm.
Correct. And
It's
that's
like
actually a real
the
problem as well.
yeah,
it's bit rot of some
yeah.
sort. Like you
I
have
like
Yes.
all of these research in CD-ROMs, and CD-ROMs apparently are easily, like,
yeah.
Correct.
yeah,
But
easily
instead, the
destroyed.
library is no longer around or being
Yeah.
supported.
Correct. But on the other hand, we can learn a lot from the algo people or the Fortran people. Their code can potentially still run. You need to port it, but it's there, right? But for the data science guys, there's less toward paper, more toward code being reused to produce result. So I don't know. Personally, I did not work enough in the data science team. I work with software engineers that happens to do data. So we do not do as much analysis. I'm more toward generating the end goal. So that's the difference between it. And also, a lot of the abstraction is already on all the scientific tools already anyway. So in a way that they already have an abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so there's that already. So that's it. Python 2, if I think it'll be fine. The migration will be relatively smooth in a way that all the main tools already are on Python 3 and they're already committed to it. All new project will be on Python 3. So in my case, we're already on Python 3. For my project, I'm either like some code from Python 2 or we jump straight to Python 3 already. So that's the state of what I am right now. So what should we cover?
We
Oh
will
yeah,
try to.
join us on Saturday because we are having interesting talk. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, find the plot. So today, okay, so I'm going to repeat again. Uh, next week, Thursday is actually Boxing Day. I'm actually not too keen to want to do a show
You're
after
supposed to wear
Christmas.
your boxing gloves.
Uh, I'm not too keen to have a show until we had a boxing robot.
Yeah.
But it's a day after Christmas. I don't celebrate, but I just take an opportunity to chill. And the week after next week, Thursday will be effectively 2nd January. The day, so that'll be like in 2020 already. So I think today will be definitely the last show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I thought I was going to cover. Do we want to do reflection or do we want to attempt a resolution for 2020?
Let's do a combination of them. I think we have plenty of time because nothing much is going on. The only
Well,
last corner that we know is there's the version 8 of V8 is
V8,
released.
V8,
The
V8,
V
V8.
yeah. Tristan, anything you want to?
no, because it's end of the year, so we should predict the future.
Yeah,
I think that's a good
yeah.
exercise. And I'll
So
paste here the
Yeah.
technology radar. So this is like
oh,
already a
Oh,
prediction.
thank
let's
you,
let's
Remember,
Denise.
let's put a wager at least like at least a pie or something.
Yeah.
But so here's the technology radar. I think we've covered this
Yeah.
once
Oh,
before.
yeah, last year
a
we
year
actually covered
ago.
that last year.
So we should
Correct.
try it again.
Yes.
So this is the
Is the link
languages and
up?
frameworks. I
Yeah.
just pasted here the link on private
Mm.
chat.
Okay. Okay.
And this year there is no recommendation to adopt. So no
What?
strong recommendation to adopt. But
Oh,
they do recommend. So they do recommend trying out a few
yeah.
things.
Oh, one
Mm.
of the 78 arrow is actually an open source version of. Wait, no, it's different. Not that. Okay.
Kotlin. Apparently, it's
Uh,
Kotlin, a functional programming library for Kotlin.
yeah. Is that
So,
is anyone on
so I guess the
Kotlin?
trend is moving to functional. Like there
Yeah.
was Elixir, and then now you have like
Yeah.
React, which has been strongly
I
promoting functional
I have
React
some
hooks.
complaints.
Mm-hmm.
I have some complaints from React hooks because
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly going against what functional look like. I don't know.
Well, number 82,
That's
they are recommending React hooks.
style components,
Yeah. Well,
which is like I think most of the stuff that Micronauts,
mm.
just most of the stuff that is not exactly new, but I think they are becoming more significant. I think like
Okay.
Flutter.
Micronaut is a JVM framework for building services using Java, Kotlin, or Groovy.
Are we?
So
Uh,
this is like a microservice framework.
Mhm.
Ah,
yes, supposedly.
I see. And then
Oh my
Flutter,
goodness.
they're recommending Flutter as well to try out.
Yeah, but nothing
Uh,
Yeah.
to adopt.
which means you have to, yeah, nothing to. They don't have strong recommendation to adopt, but they do
Mhm.
have a recommendation to try out. So that means that's another language under your belt if you learn it. So which is Dart.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dart has been changing a lot, like
yeah.
lately. They've been like pushing for new features. So it's not the same.
It's
Uh,
not the same dot.
the, no, I mean it's not the same development pattern as Go, where they released Go 1.0 and it's like it's still
Mhm.
Go 1.0, right? It's just like new things added on top. Whereas Dart, it's like it doesn't care much about like being, how do you say,
Mhm.
being immediately backwards compatible, like a strong guarantee of backwards compatibility. They're okay to break things. I guess it's more similar to Rust in that regard, where you don't have
Let me share my
stability
screen.
yet. Oh, you're sharing
So
I will share my screen.
the
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
it's
TensorFlow.
not exactly new.
Sorry, what
TensorFlow
is?
is
It's not
interesting.
new. I think they just become big more significant.
Mm-hmm. So it's
Uh,
is this a precursor of bringing machine learning to the masses, where even your
uh,
wristwatch your watch can just like run TensorFlow.
okay, so TensorFlow has some changes, not just because of the framework. What I think they do on the framework is they make it a bit more functional.
Mm-hmm.
They adopt keras to make it easier to build neural network. When you build neural network, you're building in layers. TensorFlow, we didn't make it in layers. Traditionally, you had to define the metrics and all that. TensorFlow 2.0 also changed the way you run the neural networks. So you
Mm-hmm.
can potentially run it across different machines. You can TensorFlow Lite. That is actually something on top of TensorFlow 2.0 will make it easier
Yeah.
for you to run on small devices.
Yeah, and also
So
Not just
JSI.
on the Raspberry Pi.
yeah,
Huh?
trivia for that, the watch that I backed, the Bangle JS, runs
Yeah,
TensorFlow Lite. So you have
yeah,
TensorFlow on your watch.
correct. And
Which
I got OpenMV Cam, which have TensorFlow Lite capability. Because microcontrollers nowadays have microphone
mm-hmm.
and or camera together. Uh, so one of the things that is easy to go through is actually having a form of neural network to actually do some processing. So yeah, I would suggest it's interesting for this reason. But the thing is, TensorFlow to me, for us software developers, it's not really useful to attempt to build our own neural network. We did not get it right. I'm waiting for the time. It's more interesting for us to use neural network as a library. So, for example, one thing that I keep talking about is actually the import is dot, import is food, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are not on that level yet. We are very close to it. It's not covered in TensorFlow and all that. But this is the equivalent of I'm going to say this is actually closer to I would say regular expression, but not quite. Because you use regular expression, but you do not know how regular expression engine work.
Do
Uh,
you? Mm. I, I,
huh?
I sort of know how it works.
Yeah. But neural network is that kind of thing. You will use it. You try to compose it and all that potentially, but generally you have some idea how neural network work, but you more likely will not compose your own neural network. Uh, that is what I think. Usually I say you can try TensorFlow, you will get it wrong because most of us software developer are interested to inference library, not we don't want to build we don't want to and more likely do cannot do our own network, not without spending the investment to collect data, process data, and all that. Currently, neural network require a lot of data. There is some experimental network that requires significantly less. That's the future, but uh, not next year. Maybe somebody will come there, but I do not foresee next year to be the year where there is doc library for us to use now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thing now about neural network. You should try. You should definitely try because it's the same reason I would recommend you to build things from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so that you can learn things, even though you don't have to do things and you will do things wrong, but it's a good experience. So yeah, that's my opinion on TensorFlow. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I still prefer to see its dog library in front of me, or its durian, or its food, etc., etc.
He's swimming.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's everything here on trial.
Yeah,
Access
Mostly
anything?
this is mostly JavaScript front end
Yeah.
web
but I
technology.
would. So
It's
the thing
interesting.
is, I don't understand why you still access GraphQL. GraphQL, I think, is pretty good enough for us to
No.
use
I
now.
have I have another opinion on it. So we can
So
save it for
Uh,
other.
so here on the explanation, it does say there are concerns about the misuse, like performance gotchas about n+1 queries. And so, and
okay.
here's the thing that I guess is a bit disappointing with many. I mean, it is expected for many new developers is that they don't know how to detect n+1 queries, and which
Yeah.
is like a common thing if you've been working on like relational databases for quite some time, right? And
Yeah.
so this is GraphQL is the next big thing, and you still have to eventually write like code to interface with your database.
Yep.
So as far as I can tell, there's no GraphQL native database where you do your inserts and your
Yep.
queries directly from
You
GraphQL. So you
still have
still
to.
have a translation there.
Yeah. You should. Yeah. The translation is not.
Yeah,
It's just. Yep.
yeah. It's like a presentation query layer basically on top of
GraphQL seems to be very focused. I'm very biased, like, but for me, GraphQL seems to be aiming towards front end developer than
mhm.
people that do backends. It's very
Yeah.
convenient. Of course, it's very convenient to have a centralized query that you can, I mean, query endpoint for you to do stuff as a
Mhm.
front end without having to like let's say if I'm gonna integrate REST, I'm gonna have to write a lot or of things to handle it, but I
Yeah.
can write something that's more generic
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
GraphQL, but it seems to be more favored towards front end, as my
Yeah,
opinions.
it seems to be favored for like people who don't want to do stuff on the back end. So if you have like, because if you have a GraphQL endpoint, then you can create your own queries on the front end. You don't have to
Yeah.
ask someone, hey, can you please make an endpoint with these particular data? I can
But
just make it myself.
yeah, but assuming that uh, they do, I mean, assuming that they did the work, well,
Yeah.
sure. You have to do the
So
work to enable that kind of flexibility.
yeah. And sometimes I guess the reason why it still assess is because sometimes if your workflow is such that you have a strong relational backend experience, it would be faster to have like and you know how the design of the system is. It would be faster to have an endpoint with very optimized queries, and that's
Yeah,
what you just need, right?
yeah.
And you just like
Mhm.
base go around that. So
The
GraphQL is really designed much towards like exploratory queries where you don't really know what the user will be doing or what kind of
no.
queries you want to do.
the the thing that I see GraphQL is well suited is for like big organization where you have a lot of existing data sources and also like different services that you want to integrate. Then it became like a consolidation point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have one database and you're gonna do that, it seems to be like introducing more work
Yeah.
to provide that kind of abstraction. But if it's a
Mm-hmm.
consolidation, then I see it as a pretty convenient way of providing a more flexible uh, way to interact with multiple services.
Mm-hmm. So
So you're suggesting
what?
that GraphQL is a microservice aggregation tool.
No, it's more suited towards that. I mean, in my opinion, because if
Yeah.
I have a very well designed model and stuff, I have very well designed APIs. And
Mhm.
sometimes
Yeah.
in a serious system, have you don't actually have that many API that you need at GraphQL to provide it. Probably you have two or three serious one that provide you almost with almost everything. I mean,
Mhm.
that's my opinion.
Uh, on this list, actually, one of the things that caught my eye, a few on top. The first two is natural language. Natural language tool. Is actually goes back to my original point of what influence tools and that. But
Which one you
the
are talking about?
Flare,
Fair second flare.
Okay, okay.
Flare and Facet. But I'm focused on Flare. Because
Uh,
these tools are inference tools, tools to be used, right, instead of training.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will be interesting, but it's not on my tools list yet, but sooner or later will. But my next thing is actually the one on top, below Gatsby JS. Not because of Gatsby JS alone, but the concept
Mm-hmm.
of Jamstack.
Mm-hmm. So
It's something
I,
on my list to learn because go
well,
on.
it's quite not it's not that bad really. Uh, so Jamstacks are quite like devkami.com is on a Jamstack.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
using
precisely,
Hugo. But
precisely.
Gatsby is different in such that um, it's like WordPress but static. So you actually have a data model that you query, and that
Right.
data mod. So um, they make it flexible such that your data source does not just have to be the files that
Yeah.
you have. It can be like an external source, and so you can write like external source APIs, for example, like the current searches on Google, like the top searches on Google, for example, trending searches or trending in Twitter, and that can be your data source. And so you can publish your site every hour with updated information, and that's
Yeah.
like it's an interesting take on the Jamstack.
Yeah. So either way, one of the things that I was planning to learn is a Jamstack, front end
this
focused tools for this.
What
I
what
do
which one are
something
you looking at?
cool.
guess B.
You
I think.
It's just Gatsby. I thought you would go more into like something Python, like Flask. No, not Flask. I forgot which one. The Python Jamstack. Wait, let me see.
No,
There's
no,
a
no. I
Python
don't
chips.
really.
Jamstack. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense in this case because Jamstack are meant to be run on the browser. I won't be running Python on the browser directly. Not
But you
yet.
can generate the site with Python.
Yeah, yeah,
Pelican.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
Pelican, for
yeah, yeah, yeah.
example.
Correct. But in my case, I really want to catch up on the front end technology and all that,
Mm.
which is why Jamstack is
Yeah.
interesting for
Well,
me.
if you go Gatsby, that means you need to learn React and you need to learn
Yeah.
GraphQL. So that might be
Yeah.
a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
anything
Okay.
of interest to you, Tristan?
Oh yeah, Gatsby is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But
I would
I'm gonna
actually
pick
go
up
for it.
I'm gonna pick up GraphQL as well.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to rewrite DevKami into Gatsby. I think
Yeah.
this
It might
one
be
is
too
enough for
much.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
but definitely we should add a few interactive elements on the site, like I don't know, like maybe a directory of companies and which is updated from a list. Maybe
Yeah.
that can be like a Gatsby microsite, you know, on its own.
Sponsorship.
Mhm.
Sponsorship.
What is page.js? Pagination, really? Pagination
Imagination.
is still
Okay,
something that needs to
Uh,
be solved.
let's
apparently
have a
you
look.
can do it using CSS now.
Let's have a look. Oh, it's a
Ah,
CSS.
CSS. Ah, okay, interesting. So it's a polyfill.
Yeah.
But
So CSS
why
will
do
be
they name it
edited.
JS?
No, it's because it's a polyfill. It's still a recommendation,
Okay.
probably. So it's
Uh,
not yet fully, um, like browsers are not
Okay.
implementing it on the itself,
Yeah.
right? So it has to be
Still passed
polyfill.
by the JS part.
I wonder how this actually works. That means
Yeah.
you have to load all the data in order to paginate it,
So
right?
let's have a look at the example.
Hmm.
I hope not. But then if we're talking about CSS, very likely, unless
No, how would you do it? So yeah, that's an interesting like technique. How would you
yes,
page without knowing how much there is? Like, would there be like
yes,
some fuzzy guessing or something?
yeah,
Or you just don't say,
I
okay,
think
you're
that
100%?
the new CSS syntax actually will do a element counting for you.
Mm.
So
So
that's
you
what
still
happened
need to
here.
load all of the elements anyway.
Yeah, you still it doesn't do backend paginations.
Mm.
It just handle the front end for you.
I
I
see.
said, yep. It's doing CSS is getting more interactive now. So
yeah,
soon it's gonna be another. Is CSS Turing complete yet?
yes.
Apparently it is.
Oh, Shutterwolf.
So uh, the 94 is interesting. So Apple has a Swift UI. So I guess
Yeah.
they're replacing all of the the next libraries, the NS stuff.
Yeah, the
So
fun. Yeah. So
it
it's
would
gonna
be
be a more
interesting.
generic, about like generic system view, something like that.
Mhm.
Hmm. And test containers. What are test containers? Automated test in containers, I guess. Java library by managing Dockerized dependencies for your tests. Oh, speaking of this, it's not here on the list, but I was looking at GitHub Actions the other
Uh-huh.
day, and it looks like you can run a self-hosted instance of GitHub Actions. And so you
Okay.
can just run GitHub Actions for free
Mm-hmm.
and then run the actual container on your local machine, like let's say like a Threadripper, and
Mm-hmm.
you have all the benefits of GitHub Actions. You're just paying for the electricity and of course the hardware, which is a
Mm-hmm.
very interesting model. Like I'm not sure why you would go for enterprise for the paid version. Maybe if you just don't if you just want the convenience, I guess, right? Um, Instead of like buying your own hardware and then replacing the hard drives whenever they fail or whatever, you just pay for the cloud. Yeah, so that's probably like
So anything
more economical.
anything like you guys want to predict on what is gonna be the trend in terms of
Okay,
language effect?
so
We
I'm
definitely
going to
need to
tell you
go
the
through
first
some of
thing
it.
first.
I'm gonna
I'm going
I'm
to,
gonna we're gonna cover that like in other episodes, like because it seems to be a longer for
Hmm.
to
yeah,
cover all of this because
yeah.
it's an annual tradition anyway. So let's do a kind of a like prediction for what's gonna happen.
I'm going to predict one thing that is a buzz right now.
That is not a
Quantum
prediction.
computing.
Wow,
Quantum
Bitcoin
computing.
really? Like quantum computing?
Bitcoin?
No.
Are you sure?
Okay,
Oh wait,
quantum.
if
The second
quantum
comeback of a Bitcoin?
yeah, no, if quantum computing takes off, then that means Bitcoin prices will crash, right? Because
Yeah.
now you can
Yeah.
solve more
They are not
stuff
crypto.
in less
Yeah,
amount of time.
they are not crypto safe anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but quantum computer is a buzz now.
But it's not like anything we can. It's not. It's like more like the big boys toy than
Yeah.
anything we can do.
Do not expect quantum computers to be generally available next year. Here's why. The way the abstraction for quantum computers do not map well with the way we build software yet.
And also
Uh,
the way
It,
like the how it work is requires a lot of very sensitive control environment.
no, that's fine. Everybody are trying to sell you a quantum computer as a service for you to code
Okay.
on.
but
But despite that,
is it going to be the same issue as when people started writing for parallel concurrency, where like
no,
okay, multi-cores are now available, we have to deal with concurrent programming.
no, it's worse. It's worse in the way that your abstraction is not just concurrency. You're essentially try to have different qubits to converge to a solution. And to do that, you're essentially building quantum circuits.
But for example, like when
You're
people
not,
when developers switch from single processes to multi processes, like huge
yeah,
infrastructures need to be changed, programming languages needed to be changed, like
yes,
concepts needed to be changed,
I
and
think
we're
yes.
still not there.
I think
No,
quantum.
quantum computers are even worse.
Hmm.
I'm going to tell you
But
that. It's even
I think the
worse.
problem with quantum computing is that it's still very specific.
Yes,
It doesn't replace. It doesn't replace like just whenever it's ready. It doesn't outright replace the normal computers, the
correct,
binary processor, because it's not like to do arithmetic. It doesn't make sense to do arithmetic in quantum computers.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
So our
You're
processors are still
measuring
more.
energy.
So probably, I mean,
So
in the future, when it's mature, the CPU will be more like a hybrid architecture, like
yeah,
gonna like be a mix of our current binary processing plus the qubit processor.
uh, a better example is actually a GPU. You're
Yeah,
not doing normal calculation on the
yeah.
GPU.
It doesn't outright
Yeah,
replace it. It became a module that accelerates certain kind of
correct.
calculations.
So when these software developer are working on if else for loop, this kind of logic,
Mm-hmm.
but when you do not use a GPU, you do not use a GPU to do the same kind of loop. You'll do that when you have very specific tasks. In this case, calculating vectors, calculating numbers, right? GPU are good for that, extremely good for that. Quantum computer will be the same. They are very good at calculating certain type of problem.
Yeah, tree
Uh,
space most likely.
Correct. Chemical reaction is a quantum state. You want to converge to one energy stable energy level. Quantum computing is awesome, and that will be like very domain specific. So yes, quantum computing will be that, but do not believe marketing, not yet, unless you're doing chemistry, very niche. You're more likely are not. You try to predict something that can be predict as an energy level, because the way to program it, you essentially assemble a circuit. Go here for this qubit, go here, do processing, then go to the next atom, do your thing. It's a measurement of energy and transition of different energy level. So the abstraction for quantum computers are not like you, and we do not have a good abstraction that we can use yet. So quantum computing will be a buzz. Okay, if you know, it's still the future, and it'll be future for a while, but it won't be future next year, despite the fact that even Amazon are selling you. Uh, Amazon,
Really?
Amazon had a lot, giving you quantum computing instance. IBM had tried to do that for a while. Microsoft had that for research team. So yes, quantum computing, not yet. Second
But
thing, I'll be a bit more pessimistic.
you're the one who say it's gonna be the past things here. Okay. Okay.
No,
Continue.
it will. I do not expect to be rich next year from quantum
Okay.
computers. Most people can't even program on it yet. So I'm going to tell you that. So it will mostly a buzz, but it'll be somebody will try to build it to the future. It's artificial intelligence. Uh, it will crash for a while, but certain people will keep doing it, and they will be successful. So that's my take for next year. So yes, and it's actually a bit niche lah. So what you
Mhm.
guys want? What you guys prediction within the next 20 minutes? The 20-minute thing about it.
I feel that there's going to be a lot more interconnectivity in like that leverages the browser. Um, so protocols like Bluetooth Low Energy or Web Bluetooth are going to be more um, like available. So you were talking about Alexa during the pre-show, right? And Alexa requires like stuff to connect to it in order to function well. Like let's say you'll have like temperature connecting to it and those things. Sorry, a temperature
Correct.
sensor connecting to it so that it can actually tell the temperature, or like having your lights actually be connected so that to your wireless infrastructure so that it can actually turn it on or off or send messages to turn it
Yes.
on or off. But that is also going to be available directly to the browser. Like because these are uh, there is news right now that Google, Amazon, Facebook, like they're making um, some
Standard.
like a standard for home home
It's a
automation or
connectivity
something.
standard. It's
Mhm.
a protocol. It's a standard protocol for interoperability of
Yeah,
devices.
and
Apple
because
used to have that.
mhm.
Have
and because
via
this is
HomeKit.
Google, uh,
Yeah,
the browser has to be involved somehow. So
correct.
maybe
Uh,
the future here, because Google's motto is to like capture or like store, or how they can make like organize the all of the information of the world, right? So maybe
mhm.
you can do a search for like lights that are on
We
inside
should.
my house and
I just
turn them
I
on.
just
Uh,
had I just came across an idea. We should do
Mhm.
an episode about like at least a small section about like what Google will kill.
Ah. No, but in
uh,
this thing, it's not just a Google project. It's with other companies, so I don't think it's going to be easy for it to kill
and
thing.
and there's one important part. They're not the first player.
Mhm.
Not Apple. I'm not talking about HomeKit or Extend protocol or all that. Mozilla. Mozilla actually had a project called damn it. They have a gateway.
Mhm.
Essentially, they have a gateway on a router or a Raspberry Pi or whatnot on the standard protocol. It can support Wi-Fi and Zigbee, I believe, and
Mhm.
also Bluetooth whenever available. And to control these home appliances, your power plug and all that. So uh, Mozilla actually have a software for it. I do not know whether they're part of the working group, but if the model will be concerned, that would be like the first implementation, widely used implementation. They already have the implementation. Uh, Mozilla might adopt the same protocol and go on top of it. Uh, Here's why. Most of the devices are on Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Some are Bluetooth, but a lot of it is on Wi-Fi by default. Thanks to things from your microcontroller. Tristan would notice, and us would notice for a while. Embedded devices on Wi-Fi is only
Mhm.
more widely available, and sooner or later, then we just need a one language to talk to each other. In fact, recently on the online sale, one of the things I've been window shopping is actually the so-called internet connected power plug. One of
Mhm.
those devices is 30 ringgit, which is very cheap. Then, if I can find it on Lazada, I will share the link later.
Or
The,
you can also get something like a Son Off, which is an
yeah,
ESP8266, about like 25
yes,
ringgit, and you can transform any uh, 220-volt mains appliance
yeah,
into a smart device. And because it's an ESP8266, you can
yeah,
flash like an open source firmware for it, and you can like connect it to your like home automation server or something, like, which is
correct.
run on a Pi, for example.
So I'm sharing a link from Lazada. We probably need to clean the URL. So what happened is this is actually a search term for Wi-Fi power plug. One of those device is 30 ringgit. Here's the catch. I do not know how reliable they are. Some of the Sonos phone is like 35 ringgit. I do not know whether they are genuine or whatnot,
Hmm.
but they're available, and I do not know what protocol they talk. They promise to able to talk on to Alexa, Google Assistant, and IFTTT. Again, I do not know how well it is, but it's going there. It's going. That's the future.
Well, but you know that the Internet of Things has been a thing for many years now, and
Yeah.
one of the reasons why it hasn't been so successful is because the joke where S in IoT stands for security, right?
Yes. Correct.
And then you say, oh, there's no
Precisely the
S in
point.
IoT.
Yeah.
Yeah, this.
So it's cheaper. People will try it, but I do not know how well it goes. But if there's a standard language, why not? Hopefully, people will adopt it.
Hmm.
Previously, people would bet on HomeKit. I won't because I'm not primarily an Apple user, but
Yeah.
it's there, right? People was originally betting on Extend protocol. That one you can actually run a power plug. Died off. A bit niche now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to people losing their power and all that because of badly implemented power plug.
Hmm.
It happened and it can happen. So yeah, IoT. Sorry, I hate that word.
What do you
Connectivity,
hate
connected
it?
devices.
What do you
Huh?
hate it? There's nothing wrong with the word.
Yeah. Apparently, the FBI recommends putting your IoT devices on a separate network.
Yeah,
It's not actually part of the internet. So
yeah,
it's either a
yes,
separate VLAN, or
Hey, Cap.
maybe yeah, you have a Pi or like your own separate old router, let's say,
yeah.
that everything is just
you know,
connected to.
what's the best way to plug what's the best way to plug in an IoT? Unplug
Mm,
it. Sorry.
mm.
Yeah. So
Um,
either way, yeah, I believe your stuff might be the future. And also one last thing, your browser actually have web Bluetooth. Google
Yeah,
Chrome have
yeah.
it,
Hmm.
yeah.
so it's possible.
It's
Possible.
I think that will be like the web Bluetooth standard will be more developed and
Yes.
more like available as I think because Firefox would or Mozilla would eventually integrate it as well. It's really just
Yeah.
Apple and Safari that is not as responding, but you can
Yeah.
always run Chrome on an Apple laptop. So
Yeah, but Safari and those guys, because they tend to want to do their own thing,
yeah.
which is unfortunate. But it's interesting because the price point is there. It's
Mhm.
not indeed. It's not a 100 ringgit device now. So, what other thing you guys want to predict?
I think it's continuing of the all these data leaks of this year. I think they're gonna be more developer
Data
focused.
leaks.
The data leaks like privacy and
Yeah.
also the following
Speaking of
last year's Cambridge
speaking of
Analytica
data
stuff.
leak, I just got an email from Have I Been Pwned this morning. Zynga got has a data leak.
Oh my God! How much
No,
will you lose
Zynga?
from your farm?
Zynga.
I don't know. Zynga. So apparently, my name and my password. I have no idea which service it is from Zynga, but it's been leaked. Like
Okay.
they have, like hackers have the whole thing. So, yeah, your prediction
I
is already coming true. That's not fair, though.
No,
That's like
it's
an
not. It's
easy
not.
fix.
It's not. Not that. Not. not that kind of prediction, but building on top of that, even me, because I've been due to sensitivity of data that I work with, we have to look into like kind of data security and privacy. Also, like the kind of way to isolate access. There are gonna be more tools and frameworks. There are gonna be more people focusing on this line of research. So I think they're gonna be not so much right now, but because of that, I think people are gonna uh, do more focus on this kind of work, like something like on you only access like
Yeah.
fine grained control of access. Uh, do you really need to access all the attributes in in the data? Like, let's say if you access a system, should you get all the access to all the information, like something
Yeah.
like that? So
Yes.
there will be more of this kind of similar work on, because right now developer we just take it for granted because it's just a database, and we just like that's part of the reason how this thing get leaks is that the database get passed around to other vendors, and they had issue like I'm just unfortunate to have it leak it somewhere, or like accidentally email it to somebody else. Like how do you control that kind of thing? So
Yeah.
there can be more kind of this kind of a research. I cannot say like what yet, but I can see the trend is gonna be more research into this, and more tools and frameworks or more paradigms gonna come up to
Yeah.
be to have more to to protect the user at least.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not gonna be too mainstream, but it's because of also because of all those compliancy like GDPR, like also the recent California child protection thing is gonna be requirement to for your system to have this kind of isolation. So
Okay. I have another one. Slightly different. I believe there'll be another player in the container space as a replacement for Docker, an alternative to Docker.
What they?
Yes, Docker open source will still be there. I believe will still be there, it still be maintained. It might even be Docker community will get spun off, highly possible. It's either that or there'll be another player because Red Hat do not believe in Docker. As a result, they do not bundle it together.
Mm-hmm.
but there are
And then,
alternative as well. Like Google has been working on that, and there's
yeah,
been some from CoreOS. CoreOS is acquired by Red Hat, which is,
yeah,
if I remember correctly, CoreOS is acquired by Red Hat.
yeah.
That is Red Hat is acquired by IBM. So
So,
they
what
actually
was the
have.
alternative?
I do
Uh,
not have a good one yet,
there's
but
one called
there'll
Rocket
be a few.
from
Ah,
CoreOS.
OS.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's been some effort to have different other standards as well, but they are
Oh.
compatible because the container is now a standard governed by the like the container sort of foundations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I believe there'll be another implementation or there'll be an alternative implementation that is not Docker. That will be happen next year because of needs actually. I do not believe Docker will die immediately, but I do believe that uh, there will be an alternative for people to adopt and may even be part of your more importantly part of your operating system repository. So yeah.
So what else, Tristan? Do you have anything to add?
No, not really. I'm just looking at the other areas of technology.
Wasm is gonna be
Radar.
more. It's gonna be more widespread. I'm not sure whether you reach critical yet, but
Which
it's
one?
gonna be
Sorry.
Wasm WebAssembly.
Sure. Ah,
Yeah.
Wasm. Hmm. I don't know yet. Like nobody, probably the first movers in Wasm would be um, like data science stuff, where you want to do computation on the client side, right? You want to do some computation over there
Yeah, more
instead of
crypto
doing it on a
miners.
central thing.
More
Yeah,
crypto
because
Yeah,
miners.
it's
some tool
really
set is
for
needed.
yeah because you
Uh, Okay.
the original, like you would, that would be the immediate gains for Wasm, is like, because you have pure performance stuff there. But the aims of having Wasm as the JVM of the web, right, of the browser, where you can run multiple languages on the JVM, but the JVM is still executing it. I don't think it's that close yet. There are a number of languages, like those are that are based on LLVM, especially because LLVM now transpiles to Wasm. But for example, Go can already compile into Wasm. Rust has a Wasm target as well. They're already there, but I don't think many languages like Python. I don't know if Python can even like transpile into Wasm.
There is somebody is working on it, but it's not
Yeah,
something official.
yeah. So I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah.
So most likely, yeah, the first movers would be the ones that
It's
need
gonna be It's gonna be
really
toys
raw power,
or
Games.
yeah.
like Doom in Wasm, which was already done, by the way. No,
Yeah.
it's already done. Someone's
Something
already
what
ported
something
it.
I would like in Wasm is like I can write like my special binary protocol support without having the browser to support it. So something
And
like
this is why we hate Flash.
yeah. So I can have my like gRPC on real gRPC on the web instead of
Yeah.
having to transpile it to JavaScript and do the translations via
Just so
like
you know,
pseudo REST
just,
interface. Yeah.
just so you know, there's a reason why people hate Java applets and Flash.
It's the age of Java applet.
Yes. Who remember Java applets? I
Yeah,
do.
I don't
Java
know.
applets.
I'm too young for that. Sorry.
Java applets are good.
Yeah.
And now
They
they are
allowed
banned
you
with
to do
Blossom.
stuff.
Yes.
Like
Blossom will be
before
interesting.
HTTPS was a thing, that was the only way you can create a secure socket.
Yeah, and that is how you brought the Korean
Yeah.
IT industry backward for a
Mm.
few years.
So you can have your own web server on your browser that communicate with the server.
Yeah.
Just so you,
So
yeah, and also the
I can
reason.
see. Let me do a like really ballsy prediction. Buzzer is gonna be
Yeah.
used as crypto miner is actually like it's expected, but I think people gonna because you can run sort of like a web server. I think it's gonna be used as a way to distribute botnets, but instead of
Mm.
infecting your system, you're gonna infect your browser.
And that is how Apple going to remove WhatsApp.
I don't know about that, because the browser is quite good in the sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's had years to
It's gonna
perfect
be sandbox,
sandboxing.
but the point of a botnet is to as a worker to do whatever distributed task that they want, like DOS or mainly DOS.
Ah, okay.
So it's gonna be used like which is actually proven. I think the China actually redirects their DNS queries to do like relay them to do a DDoS to any system. I think something like that. Might be wrong, but China is not going to sue me. They're just going to ban me from entering the country.
Okay,
So
yes.
yeah. I need to find the source of that, which is not new. I think there are going to be a more Wasm crypto miners, and then the browser vendor is going to come up with something to limit to
CPU.
allow the user more fine grained control over like
Yeah.
what can be run, like also like
Mm.
probably like containers resource control, like maximum 10% of the CPU
Mm.
on a browser tab, something like that.
You know what would be funny? Somebody implement Wine on WhatsApp. They already implement Linux, then they implement Wine, then Steam will run on browser.
So you
That
can
is
run
so
your
weird.
browser. So
Yeah.
now you have your browser running your browser.
Yeah. Okay, that's just weird. Okay, another final prediction from you guys, because I already did two before we end our
Yeah.
last episode of the year. Because I already
I
did
don't know.
two.
I don't have
So
anything more.
I don't have any
okay.
more. Let's just see here.
AI winter. Okay, done.
How about this one? AMD dethrones Intel.
Oh,
Hey,
already
it's
happened.
already done. It's already done.
Uh, I'm going to give
AMD
the
goes
last.
into the microcontroller space.
I
Okay.
don't think
Doubt it.
that,
Doubt it.
because knowing how much effort that Nvidia tried to get into that,
Yeah.
they dump a lot of money.
Yeah.
Sorry, Swimming.
Uh, artificial intelligence will will be there'll be another AI winter, but it won't be as bad.
What do you mean by
Uh,
AI winter? Actually, I don't understand the term.
Put it this way, the investment. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. People will use less of AI as a tool
It's
to
about
gain investment.
okay.
There'll be less and less money to go into it, but in this case, there'll be still dedicated group of people
Yeah.
working on the technology.
But it means that it gets serious, right?
It gets serious, yes, but it will not be treated as a buzzword because it's just so hard to get.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people are claiming to be AI, but not even that, and
yeah,
only a few people have result, and almost all of them are in the lab. Corporate labs or university labs, not from startups. It's a tool for to be used, but don't expect it to be like just put AI and you automatically put $1 million in your account. So far, the only thing that goes into the market now is surveillance tools, and that's it.
yeah.
Surveillance tools, speech recognition are being conquered by big boys already. Uh, uh, Investor will look at it unless you've got solid result. AI as a buzzword will not work as to attract investment. So I won't call it a AI winter like the last time they totally cut off all investment and AI
But since,
relegated to the research lab.
since when it was kind of totally
In the 1980s, that actually happened.
okay.
There's a hype of artificial intelligence doing everything, but turns out that they cannot deliver result uh, except for a few things. Fuzzy logic, robotics. Even that are not commercial success. As a result, DARPA, National Science Foundation in the US, literally cut off the funding. They're relegated to the research lab, which is why Canada and a few places have a lot of research on cars and all that. Those are from labs, not from startups. And they still do work. The point is, they still do work. People will still do work, but do not expect it to be like just put an AI as a word and people will throw you money to it. Don't expect it next year. It will begin next in 2020. Or otherwise, I will make a cake on DevKami and eat it.
So sounds like a reward than a punishment.
Yeah,
All right,
I
I
will
think
eat
that's
my
about it
words.
for
Yeah, that's
tonight.
about it for me.
Yeah. So
So that's
Yes.
it. Happy New Year,
yeah,
Happy
Merry
Christmas,
Happy New
Christmas.
Year.
and a Happy New
So
Year, and Happy
whatever,
Chinese New Year.
yeah, don't overindulge.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tell us if we're
everybody.
wrong.
Yeah.
Next year, like many years, we will try to turn this into something more serious, meaning we'll fix a lot of our infrastructure. And let's see how many things we need to do to grow our this that we are project. That's how it goes.
Yep.
Because we have some dedicated friends that listen to us. So
Yeah.
subscribe, like, and all that. So hopefully have a good year. May everyone be
Yeah.
prosperous
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
So goodbye for me.